as always. And by the way, I'm sure you could probably see a little visitor with me right now. For those of you who have heard me talk about Peanut, my dog, this is Peanut. So please welcome him. He's probably gonna join me for a couple of videos. It is storming out right now. He's freaking out. So, but yeah, hey Peanut, what's up? But anyway, so we are starting season 2, episode 1 of Bates Motel. So, once again, just kind of like the last season, pretty action-packed right off the bat. We are picking up pretty much where we left off from the last season, last episode. So, show opens up with Bradley basically losing her shit and pretty much jumps off a bridge. We also find out that Norman's teacher, Mrs. Watson, is actually dead. We were kind of assuming she was dead at the end of season 1, but we only got we were left off with her, a shot of her with her throat slit and everything, so it was kind of like, is she not dead? But like I said, most of us kind of knew that she was dead. But yeah, this season picks up, like I said, pretty much right where last season left off. After all that stuff, after the funeral, after all that, we find out we actually jump forward 4 months. We find out that Bradley has been in a psych ward, kind of obviously. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you jump off a bridge, trying to take your own life, you know. She's still very much kind of messed up. We can kind of see that, almost questionable on if she should even be let out of the psych ward and everything, but hey, whatever. And Bradley actually kind of starts, asking more questions. She's still kind of showing up at her dad's, job and at her boss's, or her dad's boss, Gil's place and everything, kind of raising some flags. I know Dylan kind of pulls her aside and is like, hey, you gotta stop, this is not, a good thing, something could happen to you and everything, so he's trying to, deter her and everything, doesn't want to see anything happen to her and get caught up with any of this stuff, especially considering, she's, 17, so, just looking out for her, but, whatever. Meanwhile, Norman, this entire time is, obsessed with visiting Miss Watson's grave and everything, obsessively, and even Norma is like, what is wrong with you? Why do you keep coming over here and visiting her grave? She was just a teacher, you didn't know her that long, it wasn't a girlfriend or best friend or a relative, you need to get over this. And I would say, normally, his behaviors would be of someone who maybe was dealing with death for the first time, but this wasn't obviously the first time he's dealt with death. His father was killed, as we know, from season 1 and everything, so it's not like this is the first time and it's he's trying to deal with his first death, so it's a little weird, but we are kind of seeing more and more of his sort of psychosis and everything, and his how his brain works and everything, almost being sort of obsessive, especially with what we know about the Norman character as a whole. It definitely is playing into more of okay, he's a little off, there's some psychological issues there, especially, like I said, he keeps going to his teacher's grave and everything, that's just weird, so it's obviously it's not his first death, so he's just psychologically a little messed up, and he's obsessing over this, and especially too considering he doesn't realize that he's the one that killed her. He still thinks someone else murdered her. So, and fun little fact, so I know in season 1 we found out that Bradley's father was having an affair. We didn't know who he was having an affair with, we didn't know who B was. We find out who that person is, and what do you know? In a way, it's almost good for Norman, because B was actually Blair Watson, his teacher. So yeah, she was, off screwing someone else. She had a boyfriend who was Gil. So more things are starting to kind of come into play. And this is kind of why I do like this series, because it doesn't just waste things from previous seasons. It might mention something they might not mention it again till for like quite a number of episodes, but they do bring it back up. They don't waste it and they don't rush stories in this, which I like about this show. But yeah, so we're learning about stuff like that. And then Bradley ends up finding out that the whole affair and everything and who B was and everything. So she, of course, being almost kind of going down the same path as Norman, like mentally being a little psychologically unstable, obviously is a little upset, ends up killing Gil. That is how our episode ends. She does actually go to Norman after the fact. It's like, I need your help. So we're gonna kind of see what happens in the next episode. We're gonna see how it's all taken care of and everything. So, but that is our season 2 opener, guys. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for letting me take like a couple of weeks off of this. I'm refreshed to do this series again. So, till next time, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.